we're seeing what's happening all over the world, various wars and more. And we've spoken on the last few weeks on the podcast about lifestyle, quality of life. We talk offline often about whether this is the right place we want to be in terms of the UK. And my question, I guess, to the two of you is, where in the world is the long-term future for us if it's not here in the UK? We are people that our lineage and our family and our heritage are not English and British. But I wonder if there's a time we need to start thinking about, where is happiness? Where is the long-term home for us? And bearing in mind, we're seeing what's happening in America, we're seeing what's happening in the Middle East, even on the African continent, there's just madness happening. The Caribbean is in a very volatile position as well. Marvin, you first of all, where do you see your long-term future being?
So I have a place in mind, but spiritually I have a connection to just, I am the place. So this is a really important thing. So how do you do therapy? I am the place, yeah?
Go for it.
Then there is a clear understanding of, like, culturally, where do I enjoy and where am I really open to? And South Africa by far is the best place that I've ever been. I've never been surrounded by so much, like, positive blackness, creatively, academically, social, even politically. Like, one of my friends was just like, yeah, we're starting a party. They're like third in the race right now. Like, it's mad. That's just like, I would sit with him and just talk nonsense all day. And now he's like involved in a party, and we don't have that here. And also, you don't understand when you're not in a majority black country, just how much of those signifiers bring you safety. Like, when you hear the conversation and you're involved in the conversation, you know that when the three major parties are talking about the future of the country, they're speaking to you. It's a fundamental difference. I literally listen to the political discourse and 90% of it just goes over my head in terms of affinity and experience, because none of that stuff means, the idea of receiving a PPE contract for 79 million pounds. What? That, who? And you look at the people that have done it, and they made bras, and now they're making PPE contract, and the contract wasn't even fulfilled. And that is actually happening miles away from, in terms of something I can sit down and have affinity with. It just sounds wrong, and I can say it's wrong, but I don't understand how that's happened, how it's even possible. So it's a world of worlds away. And I think psychologically, I think capitalism is very much, on even on a global scale, is like terrorism for black people of color. Like, we survive in it because we have to. I think as men specifically, we get thrown in the front line because we're the ones that I said we have to make the money. Like, our pride and value is based on how much money we make. So we find a way and we do it. But if we ever check it, it's madness. Like, the amount of time, hours and effort I spend in trying to make money, I look after probably 30 people's salaries and mortgages. If I don't do that, yeah, that's a lot of people that I have to. So for me, it's like, it's just stress and pressure. Then I went to South Africa and I was there for 3 3-month periods in 2 years. I got so happy. I was so peaceful. My skin got better. My health got better. Like, I was going to the doctors and they were like, yeah, we think you're good. It was like, yeah, so come back in a month and just see. When I'm here, oh my gosh. Yes. Also, just like energetically, and I think, I don't know how much you read in your own energy, but I'm not the same energy I am when I'm somewhere else.
I agree with that.
And I feel like that is something that people pick up on. And so if you know me here, you know me differently. Like, I don't have a desire to go outside. Like, I used to wake up, there's a mountain, there's a sea, there's like beautiful palm trees. There's just like stuff to do. You want to walk out into the sun. You start thinking like, do you know what, today, I'm not going to do that thing I was going to do today. I'm just going to go outside and talk to some people. Here, I'm just like, let me just work. Because if I don't, and I get caught out in an invoice and I'm 1 month behind, I might lose all my shit. So let me just keep working. It's a constant hustle mentality. So I'm not a huge fan of here. I'm here very much for my children at this time, which I'm very, very grateful for. But I know there's better existences. As do you two, I feel like.
Yeah, well, definitely for me. But Hugh, I know that you often feel frustrated with what we are getting in this country, especially as black people. But I guess what I want to know is, do you have an answer in your mind as to where it's better?
This country at the moment is just it's a bad deal. It's a bad deal. If there's that social contract on the table, and like, I don't know, I'll just name countries. It's not me saying that I want to live in these countries, but, you know, if Tunisia put a contract on the table, Croatia put a contract on the table, do you know what I mean? Fiji put a contract on the table and Britain put a contract on the table, and you had terms and conditions with all four laid out, you'd be like, Britain's the worst deal.
Britain, Chelsea.
In terms of what I'm paying, do you know what I mean? No, in terms of what I'm paying and what I'm getting back, it's the worst deal. Now people will say, and again, I didn't name those countries for a specific reason, so I'm sure people are already going, but Fiji's got this. Yeah. I'm not saying that. I just gave random examples, but what I mean is, because there are great things about this country, they're just not working that well right now. So
what's going on? Which one?
No, as in, you know, the premise of the NHS is a fantastic thing if you can deliver it properly. We're not delivering it properly, and at the moment it doesn't work. So there's no point. That's one of the big pluses of living in the UK. The education system was world leading, you know, and it was one of the great reasons to stay in this country. Your kids are going to get a good education. You could send them to a state school, be competitive with anywhere else on the world. That's fallen behind as well. And those were two major things. The other one, well, I won't give anything away for later on the program, but, you know, people thought that policing in this country, what they'd term as policing by consent, you know, gave people kind of a safer feeling. It's a weird one, right? Because the police are meant to protect you, but in so many countries in the world, you need protection from the police. So that was one thing that we again, I'm not saying the police have been amazing, but what I'm saying is people would be like, it's worse elsewhere. Like, especially for a black person, they might be like, Now, the third, well, I don't know what number I'm on. The fourth thing was the economy, and the major thing was the economy. So the UK was meant to provide such a stable economy. The strength of the pound was always going to be world leading. And so if you worked in this country, especially for people who were immigrants, you could provide a better life for yourself down the road if you want to go back to wherever you came from, retire there, or you've got family back there and you want to send money home. That was the major thing. It was like, okay, if I go and work in the UK, it's doubling up if I work where I'm from. So bam, immediately, going to buy yourself a house back home in 15, 20 years, go back. Basically was the plan for a lot of people. Obviously what happens, we know what happens, life happens, people end up staying, their kids want to stay, and suddenly the plan changes. But that was the premise of it. Now, if you're not giving me those things, especially, again, I hate to put myself into the immigrant mindset. Obviously I was born and raised here, but you still feel like Britain was meant to be setting you up for something. Like, you're going to give them 40 years of work and they're going to give you, bam, retirement money, pension, you know, whatever it might be, so that you're stable and you can take yourself through to the end. We've been discussing it in recent weeks, so I won't go back into it. It just doesn't feel like that's there anymore. So where else can we go? Where else is going to give us that opportunity? And immediately in the cost of living crisis, people are just looking bottom line, especially people that can work from home. So people are going, I could stay in Salford or Birmingham, but I can do the same job in Bali, you're saying, and to live there my rent's like £100 a month and I'm earning same salary.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Bali, because I was in Bali a couple of months ago and I saw just that, the amount of cafes that you drive past where you just see any man just with his laptop just there for 4 or 5 hours working, and you know afterwards, right, laptop down, I'm going to the beach. And all they're doing, when we spoke to, all they're doing is digital jobs. They're not rich from it, but they're earning enough money to live a good life in Bali. Do you know what I mean? I've seen that in real time. Sorry, I cut you off there.
To be honest, I wanted to go back to something that Marvin said, actually, just because I think it's important. I don't know which, I wanted to pick on both things you said. Firstly, just to talk about South Africa. And the second one was I wanted your view on when you said that I am the place, because I thought that was really interesting. But I'll start with South Africa and why you found it so engaging, because on my journeys to South Africa, I feel a lot of pain in that country. Like, Africa is a place that I would love to live, and I constantly think, especially when I see you in West Africa, boy, I'm like, listen,
it's nice out there.
It's time for me to. And when you asked the question at the start, immediately I thought of like white beaches, you know, in Senegal, or, you know, going to Ghana, you know, and all the things that I mentioned about Great Britain. Really, my question is, when will Africa deliver those things? If Africa delivers the stronger economy, if Africa delivers the best healthcare, you know, the best schools and education,
why not?
It's time. It's time for people, Black Americans. I know. I'm not sure they'd be that gratefully received, or nor would I. Nor would I. You know, I'm not saying that. I'm saying just, I don't think they want the culture of their country to change by loads of foreigners coming in because it's a beautiful place. But if it did offer all of those things right at the front line and cutting edge, and it looks to be progressing in that way over the next few decades, it could easily go that way, particularly as Africa may have one of the strongest workforces in terms of labor in the world, just population size. So their economies will grow. And if they're producing, and if you can go there and make money and open your own business, and that for me is the place. I'm just saying, anyway, yeah, people are going to choose wherever. But like I say, when I see you out there, I'm like, okay, it's nice. Time. When I see our friend Ade enjoying in Ghana and stuff, I'm like, okay, it's time. Beautiful countries, right? So for me, it would probably be that area, even though I'm Caribbean. But when I went to South Africa, I felt really, you feel the pain.
Yeah.
Such a segregated society. It's mad. If you haven't been there, it's just like you go to basically what would be a white middle class area in England. Like that's essentially what they are. You know, people driving BMWs and Mercedes and whatnot. Then you go to, the predominantly poor black areas. I went to townships and stuff like that. The difference is, you just feel the remnants of apartheid. It's undeniable.
Do you feel it?
And that's what I wanted to ask Marvin about.
No, you definitely feel it. I think there's two things. I think one, in terms of the low income families, the people that are in townships, there is still a system of living that is a quality of living. Like, I think the best things about coming from a Caribbean background, for example, is family and community. And that's not something whiteness has ever really truly developed. They don't know that. They don't know about the idea of like your cousins are your cousins because it's your mum's friend's children. They don't know about having 30 people at a birthday that are all seeing you grow from your life. That's a different experience. So I feel like a core part of the diaspora experience is that community part. And that exists. Many of those people are still in a form of happiness because they actually have people in their lives. And this is why I say I think we've been sold this idea of like money and like buying stuff. But that stuff doesn't yield the same when you go there. Now, there is also still a black middle class in South Africa. I met tons of them. I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of highly intelligent, affluent people. I still had some of the best experiences in my life with those people. And it's like, yeah, they do have BMWs, but everybody's living 6 months from destruction also, just like we are here. But they have weather, they have lifestyle, their food is healthier than ours, their people are much more connected to what our values are, which is more about spirituality, African spirituality, than it is about like, making it. It's a different type of thing. Like even when you're around them and you're like, I got given a South African name, which is Mandla, which means strength in Zulu. And it's like, even little things like that, your last name having a meaning. Oh, you're from Durban. So you're from, and your family is this. I went to Antigua and my mother's maiden name and my grand's name means something. Oh, that's the police officer from over there. He was chief of police and they're a political family and they got people in entertainment, media and da-da-da-da-da. We don't have that here. So when I talk about the happiness chart, it's those things that move the needle. I don't even, like the Rand is not a stable currency. It's probably fluctuated between £1 to 19 to 24 Rand in the last 4 years that I've been going back and forth. It's not stable. And it has also been exploited on a global scale as well, which is another problem. But you can make money there. Like you can create a life for yourself there in a stable way, and it is relatively safe. There's just certain customs that you got to get used to in terms of like, you may live in a compound, you may live behind a really big wall. You do have to have security. There are armed guards places. People who have Ferraris have an armed truck following them behind them. There is security issues.
That's not unique to South Africa though.
It's not unique. It's not like right now. It's so funny, because I got bought a Rolex for my birthday, which is the sickest present in the world, and I couldn't enjoy it long because my first thought was, is that I don't want things that people feel they have to take my arm off for. I just don't want it. I could have afforded that over any time in the last 15 years, but for me, I'd never carry things that I feel are of like commercial value, because the people that want stuff are willing to do whatever to take it. It just is like, it's not, for me energetically, it doesn't make me feel powerful. It doesn't make me feel good feeling like I got to be ready and watching people move. And I think like, whenever I'm building happiness, I'm building it from a place of very simple existence. So this era now, I just turned 40 this week, is like about removing clutter. Like I want to get rid of things. I don't want things. I don't want bills that tie me into this experience. I want to remove as many of my direct debits as humanly possible and like not have stuff. Like be okay with not having prime Now TV and Netflix running every single month, watching 10% of one of those platforms and feeling like I need all of these premium. I have Discovery. I have 4 subscriptions to watch TV. I don't have time.
Yeah.
So it's just little stuff like that I'm just trying to, for me, that's why I say I have to be that place. If I'm not calm and if I'm not someone that can be anchored and can't anchor my family, to hell with the rest of it. It doesn't make any difference. I can provide all the money in the world, and I did. I provided things. Anything material existed. No, there's been no wants from anyone around me for years. But actually, I wasn't peaceful because of how hard I was working doing those things. I become destabilized because now I become someone that I need other things to like balance me out because I'm so tired. I'm working so hard. I was doing, in pandemic, I was doing 6 to 7 days a week, easy. And I would work from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. Just like, there was so much to do. And everyone was just taking the stuff. But the second I said, I'm not okay, there was no one. Like literally nobody. 3 people pulled me off the ledge. They weren't even around me at the time. They had to come back into my life to be like, yeah, we were looking at you like, what the fuck you doing? So I'm not even mad at no one for that. That's my lesson. That's the gift that I got, and I managed to get it before I demised.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing is that when we talk about where we are, how we're being where we are starts first. Because if you're manic here, you won't get there and find peace. You will try and look for things that you have to try and do. You've got to find peace first. Then you go into those places and you've got to adopt their ways. Coming in is like Mr. Money Man and being like, yo, get me a drink and like, what's this house and clean my house and cook me food. And like, that's whiteness, bro. That's mad. Like I went there respectful. The one compliment that I got that really stuck with me is that you came and you listened for about a year before you created anything. People don't understand the value of that. So I built trust and respect before I came in with like, yeah, we're dope black and this is what we're going to be doing. They're like, we're African. We don't know what you're talking about. Because blackness and African is different.
Yeah.
It's true.
Well, just kind of final point before we move on. Do we get a sense, guys, that...
You haven't even answered.
Where you going, bruv? Can I come?
So as you both referenced, I've been to the African continent 9 times in the last... No, that's a lie, not 9 times. 7 times in the last 5 years. I love it there. And I think you use the phrase, I feel at peace there. And when I'm there, I'm a very basic person. Just give me a beach and some waves to watch. I'm really weirdly obsessed with waves.
He says that, guys.
No, it's true.
Wait until you see this guy's hotel room when he goes to Africa talking about I'm a basic guy.
There is that.
Doing cartwheels.
There is that. But for me, I found just the basics made me very, very happy. And here I've got a lot, to your point. I've tried to practice minimalism a lot, just stripping away the things that I don't really need. And when you're on the African continent and you're where I've been, you realize you don't need much. You don't need much. And my UK money goes, as we all know, goes a long way there.
Even your clothes change.
They do.
I stopped buying trainers.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I was like, what's the point?
It's true. There's no need.
Yeah.
So for me, I would like to. Kenya's my happy place. I love Kenya. Mombasa is it's a special place with a great energy that works for me. In my ideal world, that would be where I would settle. But I've got a partner now, so I have to be considerate of that as well.
Yeah.
Now, some people would say, well, no, you should work out, make you happy first, and that's what matters. But I've committed to somebody else, so I have to bear that in mind too. She might not want to, do you know what I mean, move to Kenya.
There are other places.
Do you know what it is? One of the reasons that I think this is probably an interesting topic for now is World War III is unlikely to start. But
You say that. You say that.
You said that about COVID, and we're like, it'll be over in a bit.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like the world, sorry, I shouldn't say the world. In kind of like Western Europe, I'm not sure people are kind of too tough into the big political machinations, of world politics where, our world leader stamps his foot down, this person threatens these, we're going to use these weapons, and they're not going to do that because there'll be retaliation and allies and all, I'm not sure people are really into that and into being led into that as they were 50 or 60 years ago. I think now a lot of people are going to be like, you want to go and fight a war? Cool. That's on you. That's you. That's not me. Just because it's your country and your citizenship. I don't think people are like, I can understand it would be very different if it was like there's soldiers at the border and they want to invade our country.
Now,
yeah. In the sense that Ukrainians just were like, women and children get out of here, men just pick up whatever you can, it's time to go. I still think that would happen if we had, enemies at the door or enemies at the gate, I think the phrase is. But I don't see it in that way when we're talking about hitting missiles and blah, blah, blah. And I actually think if this country, like missiles were going to come from another country, a lot of people would be like, it's time to get out of here. They wouldn't be like, stand and fight. It would be like, where can we go?
I think black people would be like, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Well, so the point you're making, that why wait for that to happen?
No. My point is that I think it's just a poignant time for people to be like, where would my place be if this wasn't my place?
Sure.
I know people are calling us non-patriotic, and go back and listen to the flag football shirt episode if you want to.
Yeah.
But that's how I feel at the moment. I think people saw the news and went, you got your Jamaican passport? Are you ready
to go?
Pay attention.
Let me just pack that one bag.
We're being dragged into this conversation of whether we would, It's so absurd to feel like a country which has never really honoured us properly is asking us to contribute anything more than our taxes. Like, it's mad. I don't even think I'm getting value for my taxes, let alone my life. So I would be the first to be, I would already have a flight ready to go and I'm taking my family, let's go. It's not even a question, am I going to war? And anyone that suggests that men validity needs to be in war is the most bizarre exercise I've ever heard. I'm not going. I don't. If I see you two there, shouts to you, man. I'm not going.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one.
You don't seem sure, bro.
But listen,
no. I'm not fine for the whole country.
But that's aside from the point, because that's us talking about physically being there on the front line almost. But I do feel like just standing back from it now, where people are like, it's almost like, that's not my prime minister and this is not in my name. You guys want to go and fight and do your thing.
That's on you.
That's on you. Is becoming, and will become in the next few weeks, I think, a stronger theme of society, because I think we're going to see some big movements done by politicians without us having voted for it, without us having any say, and people are going to start definitely turning their back on the decisions being made. So anyway, we'll talk about it when we get to it.
We will indeed, and we may get there quicker than we think. Unfortunately,
next week, bro.
It could be really soon.
If the next episode's coming live from Kenya,
wow,
you're all welcome.
Then you know what we made in terms of our decision. Yeah,
I'll grab the cameras.
Indeed. Final section coming up next. We're talking about Will Smith. So we don't have a talk me a talk this week. We haven't got time for it anyway, because basically Hugh was late.
Sorry, guys.
And we've dropped a couple of topics from the it is very late. It's probably more accurate. You're right. But we do want to have just a quick chat on something that some of you guys might have seen, something a bit more lighthearted. Will Smith is back on the scene. I don't know if you guys saw, he was performing at Coachella.
Getting ready for Bad Boys 4, 3, 4.
Sorry?
Getting ready for Bad Boys 4.
They've been filming Bad Boys 4.
I don't know. Is it 4, 5, 6? I don't know what number they're on now. Is it 4 now? Okay, cool. He's back on the scene, gentlemen. And I thought it'd be worth just having a chat about whether post-slap, the world is ready to receive Will Smith again now. Go on.
I was just going to say, it's an interesting one because I'm not. I have held off. King Richard, right? He won the Oscar for Best Actor for portraying the father of Serena and Venus Williams. And I was ready for that film. I was like, this is going to... And I love Will Smith, man. 100% stand. The first album I had, Big Willie style, like from day one, right? He's been my guy. There are things he does that I definitely disagree with, by the way. But generally speaking, I've always been a fan of his. And I was ready for that. And I just thought, this is going to be the defining, Will Smith moment. But I didn't watch it before the Oscars. When he did that, when he slapped Chris Rock, still I haven't watched it. Still I haven't watched since that day a single thing with Will Smith in. I was so annoyed with him, so angry with him, so disappointed in him. And
what's the foundation for your disappointment?
I don't know how deep we go on this podcast, but I talk about it a lot. We spoke about it a little bit last week with J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar's situation. That's escalated this week, and it looks like we're going to get a lot of good rap out of it. But again, a
lot of rap.
That I didn't really, I didn't like to see the stereotypes of black men, perpetrated on that global scene. So when J. Cole apologized to Kendrick, I was happy, because to see a black man just say, look, this isn't me. This doesn't create a peaceful harmony for me and my spiritual well-being, I'm just going to step back from it and making that decision. Who cares if people call me weak or soft? I thought that was a good step, because we need to show that we're just normal human beings. Hyper-masculinity is killing, you know, in lots of cases, black men, because they don't want to back down from disrespect. But to see a black man slap another black man, and we're talking about two of the most famous black men in the world, I know that there were people, racists across the world, who were like, see, put a tux on them, put them in a movie, make them multi-millionaires. They're not different. They're not different to these kids on the corner. Like, it hurt me in such a powerful way. I can't describe it.
Was that
honestly.
more about your relationship to him or your relationship to racists?
No, I think I think it was specifically about him being a probably one of the biggest representatives of black American men in the world. Like, with great power comes great responsibility. Like, you are going to be held up, you know, whether you like it or not, as not just a great actor or musician or celebrity, but you will always be seen through that prism of you're a black man. And it was wild, bro. Like, you can't, it's the Oscars. It's like the last place in the world that you think there's going to be a bar fight, you know, like, and it stunned the world, as we know. And I just thought, fuck, why us again? Like, why us?
No, justification at all?
Any justification for it?
Was there a part of you that was like,
Well, actually, before you answer that, what was your position? Because we, at the time, we disagreed on it like vehemently. And I'm the opposite to you in that I was never a fan of Will Smith. But I actually was, I wasn't happy.
Started watching all of his films when he slapped Chris Rock. Why haven't Sky done a Will Smith special this
I'm
year?
like, I want more. What's going on? Whereas the slap for me, I wasn't happy about it, but I wasn't uncomfortable with it either. But I take your reason as to why you were. But what was your stance on the slap? First of all, we haven't got long, but-
I would slap somebody though. So this is I think this is a duality of just like, I think we don't accept our shadow side much. We pretend. I would slap somebody for sure. If you're talking mad to my partner in front of me, and he's been, by the way, the full context of that slap is not only has he been mocking Jada for about 5 years, he also asked Jada out on a date when they were still married because he thought they weren't together anymore. And she was like, no, bruv. So then when you
She
continue...
finally said no to someone.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. See that? That's wild.
Will, that's not wild, bro. We listen to this.
No, it is though.
That's not wild, bro.
Whatever their social agreement is
I
in
think
their
it
relationship.
is wild. Sorry to cut him off. I think it is wild because I think it plays into why I agree with you in that no matter how much she is being mocked, and I will say a lot of it I think she brings on herself.
Yeah.
This is after the slap, though. So let's not take it out of context, because a lot of the mockage for Jada came after the slap. A lot of the relationship revelations, the red table stuff, but a lot more revelations came after the slap, and a lot more, I think it became much more accepted. Like, I think for the people that were like, it wasn't that bad, she became a bit of a figure of.
It was worse afterwards.
It was almost like
for sure.
she's, you know, the whole situation was over the top, and everything that she says now, people take her to be like almost like.
Maybe they are.
I don't know what a black Karen is.
It was a very intense period of time with a lot of information that we simply didn't ask for. But inherently, them opening their lives has given us a window into the truth of how all of us are existing. Many of us pretend as that we are living this pristine existence and we are above reproach. We all have little pockets that we're ashamed of that we don't want the world to know. They've opened a version of that in a controlled fashion, and it got out of hand. Fine, they got it wrong. Absolutely fine. But also, hearing what life is like at that altitude is a gift in many ways. It's just fine. It is what it is. The fact that they chose to have an open relationship, I kind of get why they would at that particular point. Now I listen to them and I understand what happened at her 40th birthday. This is all extra stuff, but I'm okay with them sharing that information. I'm not against reprimanding somebody for dishonoring my family in front of me. I think that's wild to do that anyway and continue to do it over and over again when you've been warned to your face and on the phone. So then you continue that. Yes, I agree with your part. Like, I don't want that. That's mess and noise. I think this rap beef is mess and noise. I don't think it's even really coming from a true place of any true value to anybody. But like, it's a happening. But for me, Will Smith is an icon because he's shown over 40 years that he can be incredibly good at a multidisciplined arena and do things at the highest level. And I feel the film is really good. It's really worth watching on just on its own
But
level
listen,
of entertainment.
Marvin, listen, I know what you're saying, but we can't put ourselves in Will Smith's shoes. But if you were...
I think he's tried to do it for us.
Let me put it this way. I know that you would be annoyed and you would want to reprimand someone for disrespecting your family. But in a particular forum, you would say, let me just wait till we get off stage.
Maybe
this brother's got it coming to him.
But
you wouldn't jump up on stage and slap
No,
him.
but the counter would be
Still slapping, but
the counter would be
off camera, bro.
You flagged yourself. The Oscars is a global show. You've embarrassed my wife in front of the world. So why should I privately reprimand you?
Because of the bigger connotations that go with it. Did he think
but
about
in
his
mind-
own legacy? Did he
Well, I
think
wanna
about
get to-
his
no, but
family?
I wanna get to that
Did he think
second.
about his kids and how they'll be perceived?
But why should he? At that moment, all he's thinking is, you are disrespecting my wife in front of the world. I'm protecting my wife at all costs. I can worry about my legacy afterwards. I want to get that in the mix. We've got a rap in a minute.
Yeah.
But right about now, I'm raging because you are embarrassing my wife in front of the world. Whether she deserved it or not is a separate question. But I don't think he's thinking about maybe afterwards because it's a bad look for black
my
people.
career.
Oh,
No,
my
not
career.
even. Like, I'm saying just about his immediate family. Like, Marvin might say, I'm going to get up and slap a guy because he disrespected my wife. But if Marvin goes to jail for 5 years and his family aren't getting money or he can't take care of them, he's going to look in the mirror and say, right, I wish I could have held that just
But
for...
that's the privilege that Will Smith has.
And I know
knows
he's
that even
got
if you
300,
lock me
400
up-
million, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but what I want to get to, because we have got a wrap, is the question of legacy and whether we think that slap will be the thing that in 10 years' time people think of more than Men in Black, more than Fresh Prince, more than anything he's achieved.
Not more than it, no. But as Jim Carrey said the day after, where he was like, if I was Chris Rock, I'd sue him for £250 million. And he gave a reason, which I was like, yeah, you're right. He said, when Chris Rock dies and those obituaries come out, that will be in there for Chris Rock's life. That will be a moment that's recorded for him just being slapped by Will Smith. So when Will Smith dies and we look at his legacy and all the great things he's done, and for me, I still have to say that he's done great things. But that moment's going to be in there. And it tarnishes what is a brilliant legacy and a fantastic career.
In theory.
In a small, no, just even in a very small way. You know, I'm not saying it's going to ruin everything else.
But will someone talk about his wife again on an award show?
Maybe.
I doubt it.
Maybe. I mean, I can't. Are you telling me that's
for me was a crutch?
No. But are you telling me that
in front of Will Smith? That's the thing.
Are you telling
people
me
mock her in comedy
Are you telling me
shows.
that there's been no material made from this?
Not
Because
with him in the
front of
room.
him.
With him in the room.
I don't even know.
Ooh.
Why? What are you worried about? He's going to draw a gun this time.
I would.
What are you worried about?
I would question whether any comic has made jokes about Jada.
Listen to me. If Ricky
with him in the
Gervais,
room.
if Ricky Gervais was presenting the year after, do you think he would have left it out? Like, and if Will Smith is in the room, you think he would have said, "Come on, slap me," innit? It's gonna be, you're gonna make me even more famous.
Nah, I don't think so.
I don't know.
No one wants to get punched in the face. That's a barrier
not
for
a
many
good
people.
look.
Listen, if you
I don't
think you can
comedians
handle,
get punched
you
in
think
the
you can
face
handle
enough.
Will Smith, you're not scared. What are you scared of?
I would. I think if I was
On a side note, by the way, and I also love Will Smith, but Will Smith needs to stay off social media. I hate to tell
Why?
people what to do, but he has accomplished so much. We're talking about legacy.
Yeah.
crazy.
He has done so many things at his big age. Why is he making social media content?
Some of these motivational talks are a little bit. I'm a bit like.
I don't even mind that, but it's like the
mate.
frivolous, silly stuff. I'm like, you're Will Smith, bro.
You know what's funny?
You're
we've
Will
never
Smith.
met him,
If
and
you're-
as soon as we've met him, we don't like him. Do you understand like how
Say that
crazy
again.
that
As soon
is?
as he
We've
revealed
never
himself.
met Will, and then now we've met him. None of us like him.
No, I like him still.
Well, you just told him to get off social media, and you can't watch
No,
the
no,
films
but
that he
listen,
did.
but listen.
What do you like?
I'm annoyed at him. But it's like a family thing, you know, like that.
Yeah.
I haven't,
love you, but
I haven't got over that moment yet, but I know I will. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
I will.
yeah.
I'm still in
Watch
that,
the film, bruv. It's a good film.
I'm still in that painful period.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't want to watch that film and think you slapped Chris Rock. Do you get me?
No,
so
you forget
I might have
that.
to. I might have to watch a Wild Wild West.
And the one thing, allow
Before I
it.
get
And,
to
and the one thing as well. Now, just to conclude, is the slap took away from the award and the film itself, because no one chatted about the film
Yeah.
afterwards. Now, some would say it made the film more famous because it was attached to that moment.
Nah, you killed it.
Do you know-
Someone's dad. You ruined the legacy of someone's dad's film. I wouldn't talk to him again if I was the.
Yeah.
And
If I was
haven't they
Serena
fallen
should
out?
have been
I
pissed.
think they've
Yeah,
fallen out
yeah.
with that as well. So yeah, we got.
But that's what I
guys.
mean. I know we got to end, but he was there, having depicted in a fantastic way. I hear the life of a black man whose personality and charisma has affected the lives of so many others because of he created 2 talismanic athletes in his family, 2 of his daughters who kind of led the way and inspired many other black women. You're there to kind of get best actor at the Oscars as a black actor on top of it. You've won that as a black male actor and you're portraying him. And in the middle of all of that, which should just be success after success, it should just be hitting you as a black person. Wow.
Is it not
that one thing hurt me, bro. It's a dagger in the heart.
Is there not another layer of narrative that's like, well, he may have thought the film was about a dad who at all costs protected his daughters to get them to the top.
So you're saying he was method acting?
Well, no. I'm just saying he might have related. He might have related to, actually, this is a guy that's protecting the woman in his life at all costs.
I wouldn't be surprised if energetically
just,
that had a role to play. He did say that he was in that spirit and that mode of protection. And if you think about the monologues and stuff that Richard did and the things he did, it's very, very similar energy. But cool, when you're inauthentic, your authenticity will arrive at some point. You cannot get to the top by pretending. So at some point it comes. This is why I'd rather have less but be authentic all the time than acquire things by being inauthentic and then they get taken from me, like as Dave Chappelle says. Yeah, bro.
Marvin, you're a G.
Thank you, man.
Mate, that was such a pleasure. I'm
We're going to
sorry.
do another one, though.
I'm sorry.
No, please come back.
I missed the football chat.
Can you move from where you live? It's really far.
It is really far. Oversleeping and living that far away is a bad combination.
Not a good combination, is it?
But as I wasn't here for the football chat, just to say, bottled it.
We'll chat next week.
What's he support?
He's United. I know. Allow it. We ain't got time. You'll come back. You'll come back. In the meantime, please subscribe to the podcast. Whisper It Loudly. We're on YouTube. We are on all your favourite podcast outlets as well. We're on social media. Go to our social media. Leave us a comment. Give us topic ideas to discuss. Go follow Marvin. We'll put his details in the description below and all that jazz. Until next week. Peace.